there are plenty of other draft nuggets. They're out there just literally spewing their guts about the draft. In the last week, this is just from Monday, the things that have happened. Josh Downs had his pro day out at North Carolina, and apparently somebody there from the Steelers, who wasn't Mike Tomlin and it wasn't Omar Khan, they were both at the league meetings, but somebody told him that he had the cleanest workout they have ever seen. Ever. The cleanest workout that they have ever seen. At the same time, they're bringing Emmanuel Forbes and Tyreek Stevenson in for pre-draft visits. Huge. And they brought wide receiver Jonathan Mingo in on the same day that Omar Khan said that they are still looking to add, quote unquote, their style of slot wide receiver. Mingo's 6'2", 220 pounds. He played a little bit of tight end from here and there at Ole Miss. Let's start with the wide receivers. Josh Downs, craziest evaluation of all time, apparently. Jonathan Mingo comes in here, two very different sides of the coin. And then Omar Khan says that they're looking for a slot wide receiver. Do you think that they are sticking to their guns and looking for the next Juju Smith-Schuster, the next Chase Claypool, the guys that they tried to work into the slot, the big body guys who just didn't seem to work out? Or are they just saying, we'll test the waters, and you think there's a better opportunity for them to find maybe another Calvin Austin type player to fit with him?
Well, if the two sides of the coin are a Juju type of player versus a Calvin Austin type of player, I'm looking for a Calvin type of player, another guy like that. I get that you have one, but look, these big-bodied slot receivers, I'm convinced this team needs more speed than they do size. I feel like they have some size. I'm looking for speed. Josh Downs, I think, would be a great fit. I kind of hadn't seen him. You have him in your mock draft, got, a little sneak preview, but you have him going in the first round or I guess technically the second round. Pick 32 in your mock draft, and that was a little higher than I thought he might go. I thought there were other guys, like that was Jordan Addison territory. I don't know if that's Zay Flowers territory.
To some people.
Yeah. But like those are guys that I'd look for as well. Like that's kind of the same kind of player, the same caliber of player too. I love Josh Downs. I watched him play a lot at North Carolina. He is athletic. He's fast. He has great hands. Can go up and get balls. I'd be looking for something more along those lines than, like, I don't know. I don't want another Chase Claypool. I don't want that.
I think it was very apparent last season. You make a great point that the Steelers had no speed. They had no explosiveness. Nobody was opening up the field. If you weren't throwing the football 40 yards to George Pickens and he was coming down with some insane catch, you weren't getting a big play. Like there was no splash in Pittsburgh. You need splash. Calvin Austin is here to provide splash. Deontay Johnson is not a splash guy. Deontay Johnson's a 12 to 15 yard reception guy, and he's open all the time. So, that's the perfect role for that guy. George Pickens is your absolute monster down the field, but you have nobody to turn a small play into a big play except for Calvin Austin, who has zero NFL experience. Just to say that, like, you're looking for another Chase Claypool, another Juju Smith-Schuster, I agree with you. You're looking at the same offense that you've had the last 2 years, which has been nothing spectacular. You want a guy like Josh Downs. You want a guy like Jordan Addison. You want a guy like Zay Flowers. You want those guys who catch the football in 7 yards and turn that into a 35-yard run. Like, that's who you're looking for. Those guys that operate well in space, that are great route runners, not just a physical guy in the middle. If you want to utilize that, and I think this is a good alternative, draft another tight end, let Pat Freiermuth play off the ball more, allow Connor Hayward to play off the ball more. Those are two big bodies that you could throw to in the middle that have very reliable hands, that are very physical. That works way better than wasting a wide receiver spot on a guy who's 6'2", 220 pounds, who doesn't open up the field for you at all, and instead grab a guy like Josh Downs, grab a guy like Jordan Addison, and open up the field. I just think that works way better for the Steelers, especially in an offense that, like, Art Rooney said it during his press conference or his end of the year media session. Mike Tomlin said it during his end of the year media session. Omar Khan said it more than once. Matt Canada said it all season long that they got to score more points. You don't score more points by throwing 5 yards a play. You know,
Right.
that just doesn't happen. If you're in crunch time and you need big plays, Kenny Pickett's needs to have somebody to throw the ball to. I agree with you. I think you got to go small. I also don't think there's options. Like I look at,
Right.
I think that outside of Jonathan Mingo, there is no big bodied wide receivers in this draft that I feel comfortable with at all. And I don't even like Jonathan Mingo wasn't a guy on my radar until the Steelers brought him in for a visit. He wasn't a guy that I saw fit for the Steelers. I guess maybe, but I think they need speed, and I think they desperately need speed in the slot. I don't care what Calvin Austin is yet. He hasn't proven anything. He could turn into a complete bust. And if he does, you're stuck with Jonathan Mingo.
Well, yeah, and so like it sounds really easy for us to sit here and say, find some explosive athletes who can, turn those 5-10 yard gains into 20 or 25.
Yeah.
That seems really easy. Like, yeah, no shit, you would want guys like that.
Mm-hmm.
But they haven't even taken chances on guys like that. They haven't even
Exactly.
used kind of like valuable draft capital on guys who are explosive in that way. I mean, you could argue they did with George Pickens, but that's a different kind of thing, That's a
different type of explosive.
Right,
Like,
and that's not a guy who's taking the top off of a defense. That's a guy who is making contested catches, and those are different things. And it's not just that these big plays need to happen. They need to be regular. They need to be easy for Kenny to make. That's what I think you're looking for more than just, I don't know, some guy who's going to get you some completions,
Yeah, that's exactly what, like, why are you game planning to fight for 3rd and 5s? Why is that the approach when your best offense, your best wide receiver of all time, Antonio Brown, is not that guy at all? And ever since Antonio Brown, all the Steelers have tried to do is find a different Juju Smith-Schuster. That's all they've been looking for. It's just a big dude who is just physically unmatched. Antonio Brown was the farthest thing from physically unmatched. He was just a phenomenal player who had a boatload of speed, who was so twitchy, who had made all the catches. You have opportunities in this draft to go find one of those guys. And I don't think that the draft is deep. I don't think that this wide receiver class is very good compared to others. But I mean, I'd rather take a chance. I think you have a much deeper pool to choose from and to see if you could actually land something than to just stick with the big body guys that you're like, we know this guy's physical and could catch 4-yard passes. And that's all we're really looking for. I just think it's putting Matt Canada in a position to fail. It's putting Kenny Pickett in a position to fail. I just don't think it's the right move.